It's just you today, or y'all both doing it?
We both over here.
Yeah, right here.
What's
up, man?
What's going on, my boy?
Man, we were just looking at some of these fighters, man. We were talking about Bo Nickal being a bad matchup for Alex Pereira. And Izzy, but I'm like, bro, you got to make it there first.
But then you said Derek Brunson too.
I mean, right now they throwing him some fish, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah, so they building him up or whatever. He got to work on that striking though, and he might be a problem. I like what he's doing so far. Them submissions was strong. So
I mean, he cold with it. Don't get me wrong, he grabbed you. That's a lot to deal with. But I'm looking at the people, man, and it's like, bro, you're supposed to beat these guys, man. And
hey, he fought this one guy named Jonathan Beard, and he was in full mount, and it was weird because the guy flipped him over and he triangled him. And I didn't like that. He didn't look comfortable on the ground for like a split second. He kind of froze up. But I'm saying against like a Robert Whitaker would have stood up, or he would have got out of it.
That's my beef with if people say, "Oh, this new person is a bad matchup for the champion." I'm like, what about all the people ranked from 25 to being the number one contender? What about all those people that you got to fight? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but that's kind of like the thing that they would give. What's my boy, like Damian Maia or whatever? When you excel at one thing so much, that they kind of, you know what I mean? Everything else comes second tier. But when you're really, really good at something, like if you're a really good wrestler, striking might be the only thing that they don't, because a lot of good people with good hands and punching power. But like if you're really good on the ground and like that BJJ, or you can wrestle really well, they will, you know what I'm saying? They will try to match you up against top tier talent. Like how far can we, do that? Like how can this guy go and all this other stuff? That will always be that. Like Izzy never got that. Like he's good with them hands though. He never got that whatever. But wrestlers always get it. Them BJJ guys, like if they're top tier, win a lot of belts, a lot of championships, a lot of tournaments and stuff like that, they'd be like, oh, he matches up well with da-da-da-da-da. But they don't have anything else. Most of those guys between, like you was talking about, them 20 guys, they all around guys. They don't have anything that's dynamically special. So when you don't have anything like that, then of course it's always they're gonna overlook you. But
I think I agree with that, because if you look at Damian Maia at the end of his career, he fought Gilbert Burns, he fought Colby Covington, then he fight Kamaru Usman. And he looked horrible. Tyron Woodley. Like fighters who he couldn't take down.
See, that's the thing. You got the guys who are really good at jiu-jitsu and they can't get the fight to the ground. That's what they call jiu-jitsu nerds. Because it's like, what's the memes about if people break into your house and then you lay on your back and you're like, hey, jump into my guard. And it's like, come on, man.
Yeah.
That's that. What's that one kid that we watched? Chase Hooper.
Oh, yeah.
Like, look, if he grab you, it's dangerous. But going for weird stuff, heel hooks and weird submissions, and then you don't even have a way to get the fight to the ground. The thing is, with the type of guys you're talking about, these guys, they're dangerous on the ground and they can get the fight to the ground. And so they do kind of leapfrog them up, because that skill set in and of itself will get you very far. Because sometimes you see guys with that background, sometimes they'll get hurt or something by somebody, right? Like they'll get dropped or something, but then they'll still get the fight to the ground and then they can still win a decision. You know what I'm saying? But then it comes a certain level where you might get hurt and then you can't get them the guys to the ground. What about like a Robert Whitaker? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's why I'm like, what happened when you fight Robert and he drop you and you can't take him down? Because we seen him stuff Yoel Romero takedowns and stuff. So it's like, you got to get past these type of people. What about the Jared Cannoniers who got 90% takedown defense or something, probably close to that?
Yeah.
It's like, you don't get to just jump over to Izzy, bro, just because.
And then what you were saying like the middleweight division. I don't know why it's like that, but it's never really been dominated by wrestlers. The champions been strikers. And I think it's in between like welterweight and light heavyweight, and those guys, they have the strength of a light heavyweight, but they have the speed of a welterweight. So I think they're kind of in the middle. And I think that's why like the strikers dominated. You were saying he's in a horrible weight class. If he was in light heavyweight or welterweight.
If he was in light heavyweight or like welterweight, I'd be more, I mean, we're going to watch him obviously. But man, like you said, like they throwing him a fish, man. Like I'm expecting this fight to last 2 minutes.
It might not last long. He don't have a 2 minute. All his fights combined together don't last 2 minutes. I'm serious. So it's like, I mean, I think he's doing what Khamzat is doing. He's taking Khamzat approach and he's finishing fights fast, which is pros and cons to that. It's kind of risky because if you gas out, that's the con. The pros is you get to finish people fast and get them out of there. You know what I mean? What happens is, because I'm worried that Bull is going to fight somebody who he can't take down and he's going to gas out. He's going to try to finish him. But then in the third round, he's going to be done. But
see, I'm worried about him not knowing what to do with them hands after he can't get you down.
Exactly.
And that's where a lot of those guys, like, so you get them one-trick pony types, it works and sometimes it doesn't. Like, you know, it worked. Like, I think Damian Maia might have been like the highest of the one-trick pony types. Like, because even a lot of the wrestlers had great ground and pound. That was 2 tricks. But Damian was kind of like, he'd just do that little fall into guard thing all the time too. Like, he used to be like, that used to be his thing too. And I'm like, if he would have just worked on the hands more, just make his striking a little bit more sufficient, so where he can set up just getting his hands on somebody, he would have probably been champion.
He just had a fast
that, like that one thing. Yeah. So
he had a fast
you gotta do it. But see, here's the thing though. If you know you don't have that skill, like realistically, John Jones is the GOAT. He ain't never one punch KO'd anybody. You know what I'm saying? So John uses the legs, do whatever. You know what I'm saying? See, Damian necessarily didn't need you to be like a crazy striker, but if you can do that lower leg kick and mess up one of them wheels, oh, I got you, because you can't move. That's all I needed. You know what I'm saying? So I think he should have probably used his legs a lot more than he did. But I'm worried about that for Bo too. I'm hoping. Like we've seen people do it, but they don't always work on them other skills. I'm hoping somebody is getting him together with the hands.
And of course, you know, the coaches and stuff they're gonna always say that the hands are getting better in A, B, and C. But the thing is, you don't want to have to find out if you have hands or not in the top 10.
And you don't want to have to find out once that door closed.
Yeah, you don't want to find out
in the top 10.
Exactly. Now we got to find out if your hands are serious or not.
And another thing is, we know Alex's grappling defense is decent enough to stuff a couple takedowns. He might not stuff all of them, but I'm saying if you're a grappler, your striking defense has to be good enough and be respected enough to at least survive a couple of exchanges. And I don't think Bo is there to where his deficiencies is good enough to avoid where his opponents are strong at, if that makes sense.
Yeah, not yet. Yep.
Because if he get hit, bro, by Alex, there is no training that can prepare him from that. Because the only way to be prepared for that is to be used to being hit. You think he in the gym getting hit? Absolutely not. He's probably ragdolling everybody on the grappling and then probably just hitting mitts and some light sparring on the feet. But that don't prepare you for Alex possibly. We talking about somebody carrying knockout power into the 5th round.
The only thing is, Nickal, I know he's a great wrestler, but I've heard his names for years. Like, he just started MMA the last couple of years. But I know, like, Robert Lawyer and guys, they brought him in years ago to help them when they fought against wrestlers. So I know, like, he's training and striking for some time. He hasn't really shown it. Striking ain't bad. I mean, he just basic 1-2 and stuff, man. But at the same time, who's to say he might go out there and just put on a striking display
against who?
Against Jamie Pickett.
But that's why they gave him Jamie, because you could do whatever you want.
Yeah,
I hate to say it, man, and we're gonna get into that, man. But
that's a fact. I agree with you. That's 1,000% on my end. That's what I thought too. I went back and I watched all Jamie's shit. I'm like, ooh,
I know.
They sent him a tomato can. I was like, okay.
So what you want to do?
And it's like, I ain't, and without being disrespectful about it, you know what I'm saying? This dude right here, he always have good fights. Mano Martinez. He be getting dropped in most of them. But then this guy came off the Contender Series. He undefeated. He trained with Dricus du Plessis.
Oh, that's the guy you told me about, the South African guy?
Yeah. Remember, he beat the dude with the weird nickname, Jedi, Pillow, whatever. So then we got Ian Gary back again. They giving him Song Kenan. They probably hoping Ian can knock something out, because we know he good, but nobody remembers these wins. So
is that the one with? Oh, you know who this is, right? Fareed.
No, I heard it.
That's Javid's brother. Javid, that guy who fought a couple weeks ago.
Okay, that's his
bantamweight. It's funny, they both bantamweights, but they both undefeated and they both cold, man.
Oh, well, that's good. Oh yeah, Javid, he cold. So
that's a guy.
If he anything like his brother, then. And then up here we got Julian Marquez and Marc-Andre Barrios. That'll be a nice one.
Yeah, striker versus grappler, pretty much.
Then we got Vivian Aruja. That's one thing I got to say about the women's division, man. I think sometimes they need to do something to stand out a little bit more, because sometimes it's like you will be thinking somebody is another fighter for months. You know what I'm saying?
I told you about some Brazilian chicks. I thought it was the same.
Especially when y'all fight the same way, and you know there ain't a whole bunch of devastating finishes, or there's only a handful of, like, you know, you got your Amanda Lame Moshes and Jessica Andrade and stuff like that. But then after that, man, it's just like everybody else, and they just all run into each other. I hate to say that, but you know. But man, so this is how that conversation got started, Kobe. And tell me, think about this. They got Bo Nickal on the main card, but they got Derek Brunson and Dricus on the prelims. Not the early prelims, but still the prelims. And I'm like, Derek Brunson number 5, and Dricus just beat Darren Till to be in the top 10. And then you get, like, Bo Nickal would have been a great.
It's funny if Darren Till was fighting Derek Brunson, whatever the fault. But if they was fighting, then it'd be on the main card. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I guess Dricus not as big of a name as Bo Nickal.
Are people gonna tune into the pay-per-view just to watch Bo Nickal, or should that have been a main event for the prelims? You know what I'm saying?
I think they wanted to introduce Bo to the main card on the big card. Like, I feel like they know, you know, given like Derek and Cody on that prelim, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, Derek is he in number 5 right now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, but he loses the big fights. So,
you know what's funny, man? It's funny because when they fight live, they're going to introduce these fighters as if they're veterans. But if they're veterans, why do they have a guy who's never fought in the UFC? Why is he on the main card? But then live, when they brought Derek Brunson and Dricus, these are 2 veterans. These are guys. They're in the top 10. Okay, why are they not on the main card then?
Like you said, it's almost like how they did Raul Rojas Jr. Remember, they gave him, you know, such and such, and let him go out there and steamroll him in 2 minutes. And you know,
well, see, it's like it's the Sean O'Malley's. It's the what's my boy name who got his face broken? What's the kid? He looked like the Karate Kid.
Sage Northcutt.
UFC is built off of hype trains. So, and Bo is no exception to that. So, and they love hype trains, and a wrestler hype train is more applicable to see because of how many successful champions they done had. That's why I'm hoping if he's working with his hands, he got a good shot at doing something, because his wrestling is there. He got them subs, man. Like, them subs be strong. It don't look like he's squeezing hard, but he putting people out, man. You know what I'm saying? So he's
easy, and he talks noise too, so he's easy to promote.
I will say
some of these guys, like these Brazilians, they come over here, man. They don't be talking and wonder why the UFC not promoting you. But he called out Kamzat, he called out Champion, he called out Alex. So
which I will give him that, because sometimes guys get mad at a newer guy coming in and quote unquote taking their place or taking their spot or taking their shine. And the reality is, it's like, bro, you've been in the UFC for how many years and possibly been doing good for the last few years.
Yeah.
It's like, man, we don't even hear about you until you got a fight coming up. The only time we see you is when you weigh in.
Yeah.
And it's like
a lot of people mad at Sean O'Malley for that, but I was like, man, Sean had to go through the Challenger Series. He's did all that with the hair. He did all that other stuff where he was knocking people out. He did a little show and dance. He was a showman. I'm like, you can't be mad that somebody is a showman, but because you're trying to be a good old boy, it's not gonna work, man. That's just not your flavor. You got to make your flavor, make everybody like. We like some good old boys. We like Matt Hughes. I feel like is that we love him. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to make yourself marketable. You know what I'm saying?
You got a few of them that don't really have to say much, but they've been around. They've earned that, like the Robert Whitakers. You don't really hear much from Robert unless he got a fight coming up. But we already know what it is when Robert fight, though. You know, he earned it. He went to war with Yoel twice. And, you know, we just, a lot of times Gilbert Burns, you don't really hear too much from him unless he got a fight coming up. But he earned that, though, because we already know what it is. But some of these guys, it's like, you got to speak up or you're going to get skipped over.
Listen, if you can't talk, you got to win. That's it. If you can't talk, you got to win.
I saw the last training video with John Jones training with Henry Cejudo. And anyway, I don't know the guy's name. I know he's fighting in the PFL and he's fighting real soon. And then Henry said, go on Instagram and go in there and say, I'm thinking about you, bitch, or something like that. I'm thinking about you, motherfucker. And then the guy was like, I don't do that. That's not me. And then Henry's like, bro, trust me. Go in there. He said it's mental warfare. It's psychological warfare, man. Like, fighting ain't just fighting. It's the fight before the fight. And then, him and Walt Harris, they were all just, like, they were in awe of just how he was mentally. I mean, obviously, we know, like, you can market yourself while doing that. But at the same time, like, it's also a mental warfare aspect behind it, too, man.
Yeah. Listen, I don't want to jump because that's one of my favorite things I want to talk about is him going over to Henry's thing to train.
Oh yeah,
listening to him, and because that's one of my favorite parts. Like, I love watching these build-ups with him and Henry having conversations. I'm like, oh my god! I'm like, if he's listening for real, if it works, Oh my God.
Yeah. See, I saw a video. See, I was telling him that I saw a video of John Jones training. He was doing planks, and he said, today don't let your knees touch the ground. And then like they were all like, okay, well, and then they was doing sit-ups, and then he was like, slow down, y'all move too fast. If y'all doing it faster than me, then y'all not going all the way up. And then they kind of speeding up, but then you got to tell them again, then they kind of slow down. It's like, bro, John Jones is a champion. Him and Henry Cejudo, you have to listen to what they're saying. Especially if you come inside the cage, outside the cage. I'm not saying that like they do everything outside the cage right, but inside the cage, they know what they're talking about. But like
that's a fact.
Yeah, but this fight, dang man, Derek versus Dricus.
Yeah, how you feel about this one, man? Because you know Derek, like you said, Derek normally lose the bigger fights. Actually, Derek had
a underdog.
A few. He is underdog.
He always underdog though.
But you remember he had a fight scheduled a few months ago, and we had prepared for him. But remember, he ended up getting pulled out. Was it Jack Hermanson or somebody he's supposed to fight? Yeah, so we was looking, man, in real talk, Derek record, man, his losses actually are to a certain level of people, man. Look, Robert Whitaker, Yoel, Robert Whitaker, Anderson Silva, and this was when they was in their prime.
Yeah.
Jacare, Israel.
And the Anderson was robbery.
And the Anderson one was definitely a robbery.
He had moments against Joel. He dropped the ball in the third round. So it's not like he just going out there and just getting destroyed, man. He was winning against Jared Cannonier. So it's like he got to just maintain his focus, man. Like,
it's some big fights. You know what I'm saying? You know what? Derek being number 5 and still being an underdog to number 10 fighter is crazy.
You know, I just realized these dudes fight the exact same way.
Yeah.
The only difference is Dricus got better cardio than Derek Brunson.
Well, both of their cardio is questionable.
No, but Dricus can go 3 rounds. He can be tired, and some kind of way he can say, well, I'd rather just lose a decision than get knocked out.
Yeah.
And Derek kind of fades. It's kind of like, well, he can kind of get finished against certain caliber, but it's Dricus that caliber. But they both got knockout power in their hands. They both throw punches from the ground. Yeah. And then they both look to take their opponent down and get a rear naked choke and get the finish.
Yeah.
Honestly, it comes down to is Dricus the top level of opponents who Derek typically lose to? That's what it comes down to, man. But only time will tell if he's in the next caliber of opponents.
You know what I think too, which is funny. I think that whichever one of these two guys lose, I think they gonna feed to Bo. Because I feel like they're both gonna be solid enough names. Because you know, if he wins again, the first thing they gonna hit everybody with, well, who's he fought? You know what I'm saying? And then, so I feel like if Dricus lose, I think that probably who they be wanting to, you know, whatever. Derek is a hype train killer, so I don't know if you necessarily want him, but also feel like, you know, him if he come off of back-to-backs, I think they'd be like, all right, perfect. So
I think it's a little bit too
definitely.
I think it's a little bit too soon. Like this is too big of a jump though, because you got to understand if Bo loses to Dricus, then he kind of messes up the hype train a little bit. You want that hype train to last another year.
No, but then
here's the thing: they put him on the main card.
You said what?
I was saying they put him on the main card already.
They already put him on the main card. They already basic,
You know, because if they're putting you on the main card, even if it's the first spot, it's telling everybody we believe in you. We believe you about to do something. So, right, you know what I'm saying? And like he putting them against like people who wrestle, you know what I'm saying? They're gonna put him against somebody who he can bow up against. I feel like they're gonna give him a top 10 guy who can also wrestle. You know what I'm saying? And then let's see who the best wrestler win. And you know what I mean? And you can go there. Either you got it or you don't. And it's really, honestly, Dana don't care because they can build up anybody or whatever, right? He has a name, but, you know, let's see if he can, if he loses, let's see if he can come back from it. You know what I'm saying? If you get like a couple of losses, that don't mean it's over for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think Dustin Poirier is like the key example of that. When he first fought Conor, I was like, oh, this guy's never going to be past nothing. No, he put his head down, full resurgence. Max was the same way. Max lost to Conor and went on a tear. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, oh, Max too skinny. No, Max was out here giving them punches and bunches and was putting people out. So, you know, it's a full test. But I do think that it's going to be a buildup. And UFC loves using lower cards with higher card people and placing them together. And I feel like if Bo does well, if he does it like how y'all say he does, like really fast, I feel like either one of those two, depending on how that fight goes, will be next. I almost guarantee it.
Going from Jamie Pickett to Derek Brunson.
But they be asking for this, man. Hey, remember the dude that was saying he was beating up Daniel Cormier in the gym? Columbus. Remember that?
Yep.
Remember? And that now that was just pure wrestling. Then he got in the cage and Daniel ragdolled him. And
man, he didn't ragdoll him. He just
he destroyed him. Man, he destroyed him.
He knocked him out. He didn't ragdoll him.
But I'm like, I guess we'll see, man. Because I'm expecting, obviously, Bo should win, man. I mean, if he don't win, I don't see how he doesn't win. He would have to slip on a banana peel on the way out there and slip a disc or something.
And I think Derek Brunson is the kind of gatekeeper of the top 5 division. The people who fought Derek Brunson, I don't know their rankings at the time.
They were the top.
But they were in the top 5.
Yeah,
you can imagine. So I think there is a certain level where he loses to, man. And that level, I don't know, man.
I don't know, man. It's hard to say, man, because Derek get tired. And then, when people get exhausted, you don't know what decision they're making in their head. Does that make sense? Like, you don't know if they're like, hey, I'm going to fight through it and get this W, because sometimes you see it. And then I'm talking about from the same fighter. And then sometimes they look for a way out, or they start making bad decisions. Like, for instance, the Jared Cannonier thing, he was winning. And then he just lost out of nowhere once he got tired.
Out of that elbow.
But remember, he was on a win streak before that, and he got tired against Elias. He got tired against Ian. He got tired against Edmund. He got tired against Kevin. He got tired against Darren Till, and he fought through all of them. And then he got into this fight and got tired.
But he looked amazing in those fights, if I'm going to just be honest.
No, but he gassed in a lot of those fights, too. Remember, Darren started stuffing a few takedowns, and it was like, whoa.
Hey, I'm going to tell you this, though, man. Dricus, he has to respect Derek's knockout power. The thing he does when he throws punches from the ground and he don't have his hands up, this fight might not last long if you go out there fighting like that. You have to respect Derek's knockout power.
Because he ain't the prettiest striker, and he ain't the most technical striker, but the reality is he do have one-punch knockout power. We've seen that before. Because even in some of the people that beat him, he almost knocked Robert out, remember? Robert Whitaker? He really and truly, Derek lost that fight because he ran in trying to knock Robert out and got caught himself. And so, did he drop Anderson Silva?
I don't think so, man. They were just going to walk 3 rounds.
Oh.
Listen, I believe in him. I just feel like like I said, I feel like he does start out like round 1 and 2 is like really good, but towards the end of that second round and going forward, he just kind of lose some steam. I feel like it's weird. I don't have as like you guys are saying, like I feel like they're so close as being the same fighter. So first half, I got Derek. If it go anything past second round, I'm going Dricus. So that's literally.
But I'm gonna say this: the whole thing about this, like Derek, him winning them first 2 rounds, it might be enough for him to win a decision. Because you guys think that Dricus, he slows down too. It's not like Dricus be like Robert Whitaker or somebody in the 3rd round. So if Derek win the first 2 rounds, he might lose the 3rd. But he might win the 3rd round too. So I mean,
but sometimes when people get real exhausted, like I said, you don't know what decision they're making. Sometimes they could be up and they get exhausted
and get finished
down so bad. Yeah, you get finished, or you get beat down so bad that it weighs heavier than the rounds you won if you don't win significantly. So I'm with you, man. I'm kind of in the middle on this one. I ain't even gonna make a pick on this one just because these are 2 guys. Like Dricus is still undefeated, and I think
he not undefeated. I think he got 1 loss.
Dricus, does he have 1?
I think he lost early on in his career.
Dricus?
I think he lost early on in his career.
He undefeated in the UFC, my fault. Oh, well, he has been KO'd once, but that was a long time ago. But I bet this dude probably get people thinking he Brock Lesnar all the time.
He's Lesnar, right?
Brendan Lesnar. I don't know who that is.
That's a version of Brock.
Everybody just running over Darren Till poor ass, boy.
I know, man.
He's overrated. I done made so much money off Darren Till losing, bro. Oh my god.
Yeah.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy. Okay.
I hate to see it, man. He seemed like a nice person, man, but it's just like
even his last fight against Dricus, he had moments. He just never he never switched the gear up. It's like he was scared or something.
You know what the craziest part about him is? He has great showmanship style. And he has a fighting style that a lot of people like. He stands straight up. He be wanting to bang. And I'm like, damn, man, like if it could just work out. I really feel like I think Tyron opened the door for that ass whooping. And then I think everybody else walked right through as well. Like
That's exactly
Once Tyron was like, "Oh, we ain't got to be scared of this big, strong ass." Okay, we got something for his ass, man.
They say he landed one significant strike against Tyron Woodley. One significant strike.
They hyped him up so bad, bro. That was and the funny part is, if they had just did that a few fights later, he probably would have beat Tyron after the way Tyron UFC stint went down the drain. I'm just being real.
I don't agree with you.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
The way things went down towards the end, we're gonna talk about that, man. Let's get to this card because actually that's a good. We need to discuss that actually.
Yeah.
And then we got Cody Garbrandt here versus Trevin Jones. Again, I wouldn't bet the house on neither one of these guys.
Didn't Trevin lose to what's the guy name who beat him? The Brazilian guy who got knocked out by Umar.
Click on Trevin for me, please.
Didn't he lose to the guy, the Brazilian guy? What's the guy name who he lost to? His last fight.
Ione Barcelos.
Barcelos when they got knocked out by a wrestler. So it's like, bro, you look bad. Trevin Jones just look bad right now. But look who he lost to. Those some big names, man.
Yeah, these ain't no bad names. But the thing is, man, when you 13-9, man.
Who he beat though? Mario Bautista. Yeah, he just a mixed bag.
He just a mixed bag. But that's why they giving him Cody. And
I think that's why Cody got him. Like I feel like they two peas in the trash pod.
I'm gonna tell you what the danger is. The danger is Trevin Jones gonna have no knockout losses. The way he loses is not typically by knockout. So Cody has a real game plan.
Exactly.
So Cody can't go out there trying to just bang and stuff, bro. Because
Trevin ain't got no knockout losses. Like the way to beat him is to just do a little bit more than what he do.
One Pedro Munoz like that didn't have no knockout losses. You go out there and you trying to bang with somebody who hard knockout, man.
And you'll get tired and you'll mess around and get fed.
Yeah.
So
listen, we're gonna say what everybody thinking.
The chin.
They trying to get Cody the fuck out of the UFC.
You think so?
Yep.
I don't think so, man. I think Trevin is like at the bottom of the mid tier. Well,
he is mid tier. He at the bottom of the bottom tier. What you mean?
I'm saying he got a win over Mario Bautista. He got a win like
it's aging well. Yeah, it's aging.
And you know, Tamora, he beat somebody good. I can't remember who it was, but like
he don't get KO'd, don't he?
Martin. So it's like, bro, he ain't a bad fighter. It's just they feeding Cody, man. And they've been feeding Cody though. That's the funny thing.
They've been feeding Cody, bro.
He should not have lost that Pedro fight, and he lost the what's the guy named the flyweight guy he fought against?
He dropped down in weight and got beat.
Let me tell you why I feel this way. One is, dog don't get KO. His record is not the greatest, but he don't get KO. That's number one. Number two is Cody chin is about weak as dog shit right now. It is. He getting punched on the right number, and that button is getting dinged a lot.
But man, you got to realize he did go to a decision with Ralph. I'm gonna tell you this though. Okay, so I got to defend Cody, bro, because this is the thing.
TJ,
I'm finna mention something here. So it's two things. First of all, Cody lost his undefeated record, and he got knocked out and beat by somebody who later got popped for an illegal substance.
Message.
And you got to remember, Cody actually had dropped TJ in that first fight, and then TJ just ate it. Remember, at the end of the first round, he just stood up and started laughing. And then it's like, well, what the heck?
Normally, yeah, but TJ known for doing that fake little laugh, like DC and Dom say it all the time. If somebody get up and they smile after they done got punched really hard or folded, that mean it really hurt. So,
but see, would he have survived that if he wasn't on that super soldier serum?
We've seen that happen before, though. Like realistically, I'm gonna be honest with you. No TRT, no nothing, no substances. I still think that TJ's better than Cody.
Cody is one at that point in time.
And winning like that.
At that point in time, to get those two finishes, there's no way. Like
it's no bag of tricks. Like I feel like Cody's got. Don't get me wrong, them hands is legit.
You talking about Cody from 2017, 2018?
Yeah, but them hands are legit though. He literally had power mixed with that small man speed. Right? That's literally like oh my God, who did he knock out? Was it Rafael that he knocked out the last second right before the bell?
His last win, Rafael.
Oh yeah. That's
God, I love that. Is one of my favorite knockouts of him ever. Right? I love when he's in that bag. But if you notice that fight, hands down, like literally out of nowhere, quickness, lightning, speed. But he's not like a technical fighter. He's just a dog ass motherfucker. And that's the only person who could have beat Dom. By the way, Dom is so technically good. he could have only have lost to a dog ass motherfucker. Like, you know what I'm saying? I honestly believe TJ, just with the kicks, with the wrestling, with the how we set it up, he's kind of kin to DJ, how he does the full scope. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know it's not as pretty as DJ does it and stuff like that, but TJ really is a student of the game. Like, you can hate him for all the whatever and the juicing and all that other stuff.
What are you juicing, Larry? Are you juicing now?
But dog is legit when it comes to putting the full package together. So, and I really do, I just think dog chin is like, after a while, whether you get tapped 1 time, 2 times, the way he's falling to these punches is not good, man.
It's like the Dominic Reyes thing. You know what I'm saying? You know, I hate to say it, man, but then he went on to the Pedro fight. That didn't have to be a knockout loss. That's the crazy part. He actually, remember, he started fighting wild with Pedro, and they started throwing hands back and forth, and Cody literally had his hands down, just throwing punches. And then he got dropped like 2 or 3 times, and he still stayed in it up until he got finished, but it was more of a low fight IQ than a chin thing, because it's like, you're not supposed to drop your hands and swing with nobody. And then Kai France, man, you get knocked out by a flyweight is just, that's crazy, man. Again, back to that, the fundamentals. If your striking defense ain't where it need to be, your chin gonna pay for it. And so, but Cody, he got to do something, man, because this, you shouldn't be losing to somebody who probably shouldn't be in the UFC if we're being completely.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So if he loses, right, what does that say? Like, let's just look at it from a marketing standpoint here, right? He gone. Like, because why would they be like, if you lose to essentially, and I hate to say it like that, a scrub, basically, you know, after being a former champ, like, because you beat arguably one of the dopest, if not the dopest champion in that division. Like, you know what I'm saying? We got to give Dom his respect. You know what I'm saying? But if you lose to this dude,
it's over.
It's a lose. Like, sometimes your opponent has nothing but anything to gain. That's it. That's all he has to do is gain. Because, like, listen, Cody beats him. His stock, that guy's stock don't drop at all. At all. Like, it does not matter. You lost to a former champ with some fucking crazy ass hands with a tattooed neck. Dog been a savage. You know what I'm saying? Like, but if the shoe was on the other foot, man, you lost to a scrub. You a former champ. Was that Fugazi? You've been trash ever since you ran into TJ. You know what I'm saying?
Dang. I think the elephant in the room is Cody had opportunities to avenge that loss against TJ, because everybody, even us, man, we was gonna ride and say, hey, man, the circumstances of how he lost were unfair, and a lot of people were gonna have his back, bro. He was gonna get a title shot. If he would have won his fights after that, the Pedro fight, the other fight that he fought after, he was going to skip the line, but he lost big fights, man. Then TJ came back, he got a title shot. So that's Cody versus TJ 3. That would have been good for both of their careers, actually. Yeah. Because if TJ go out there and beats Cody fair and square, it helps his legacy. If Cody go out there and beats TJ fair and square, it's like
avenge a loss.
He was like, oh yeah, he was on that stuff when he fought me. So you know, those wins don't really hold that much weight.
That's why I keep going back to the Dominic Reyes thing, because people say some of our biggest videos on social media are dealing with John Jones and Dominic Reyes. And we went back and looked, and it was like, wait a minute. After that fight,
never the same.
Dominic Reyes ended up fighting Jan Blachowicz, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Was that the first fight back?
I think so, Jan.
That was for a #1 contender, right? Was that for?
Was it Jan or Jerry?
Like, he fought somebody for a #1 contender fight.
I think it was Jan for the belt, or for the #1 contender.
It was for #1 contender, and then Jan went on to beat Glover. Not Glover, but Jan went over to beat, who he beat for the belt?
Actually that fight was for the belt.
That fight was for the belt.
Because remember, Jan became champion after he beat him.
God, man. So it's like,
and then he fought Jerry, and then
that's why even in crazy circumstances where people maybe win a controversial decision, or like you say, your opponent get popped for something like TJ did, you still got to win those fights, because you can't focus on that person that kind of robbed you, so to speak, if that makes sense. You got to win these fights, because you never know when you could be 1 or 2 fights away from being right back in contendership. And now, like you said, they're giving him the lowest person on the totem pole. If he lose to Trevin, bro, there ain't nobody else for them to give him, because you already done dropped down to the flyweight. Is this fight ain't at flyweight?
It's bantamweight.
You already done dropped down to flyweight, and so now you back at bantamweight, and then they give you the lowest person they can give you. Dude, there's nowhere else to go if this fight don't work out, man. So
I'm telling you, it's all bad. It's looking like PFL is in that young man's future. And I'm telling you, if he loses, right? So here's what they gonna do. If he wins, and if he does it in spectacular fashion, he gonna have to start from scratch. He probably gonna be 3 more fights away from the belt but he has to win them all. And it's a hard road travel, but because he lost the 2 TJ losses and all that, like it's the
Pedro one that really did it, man. It's the Pedro one, and it's the even though he lost the decision. Hold on. Speaking of elephants in the room, he was losing to Rafael Assunção before he landed that punch too. And I hate to say that, man.
Say that. That's what it is.
That's what it was, because you got to realize he was really defeated. If we just being real, if you go back and just really look at that fight, he really was backed up against the cage. It looked like Rafael was finna get him out of there.
Rafael was aggressive.
He really just threw something.
He was aggressive, like as hell. He threw something on some last minute fluke shit.
That's the first thing I thought about when I seen that fight trending. I was looking on Twitter like, was that a Hail Mary punch? And you can't bank on that every time. That's what I'm saying. You can't bank on that, man, because if you notice, that's his only win in recent history. And it's like, then, man, we get up here to Bo Nickal and Jamie Pickett, and we already discussed it, but I don't think this fight lasts more than 2 minutes. I'm being nice.
At the latest, man.
I'm being real nice.
I like this fight for Bo. Good, beef up his morale and all this other stuff, get him going. So yeah. I think it'll work. I'm gonna say this, man. I'm gonna put something out there. I wouldn't be surprised if he actually managed to knock Jamie out. I wouldn't be surprised if he dropped him. At least we all are expecting him to take him down and submit him. At least, yeah.
I don't think he'll knock him out, man. Because even when Jamie got hurt, what's the guy named Wright? He fought last weekend against Zach.
Jordan Wright.
Yeah, Jordan Wright. Jordan got hands. He had striking. So he got hurt by Jordan, and then it's Tululin.
He gets hurt too much.
Power. Yeah. I'm saying, but I don't think both striking good enough to be doing that. I think both.
But there's not a lesser opponent that he can get where he can show off some type of hands. If you're gonna show off your hands, show him off against Jamie Pickett. Don't wait till you get to Darren Till or somebody and just start showing us you a boxer, because that ain't gonna.
What I think would be a perfect showing for him? Get him down on the ground, put him to sleep with some ground and pound. That will tell everybody you got it. It's in your wheelhouse. You're doing all the stuff that you need to do, but you can still show off that power with that ground and pound. It's still a nice knockout. It's still to say like, oh, you're not to be messed with. TKOs is nothing to be slept on, but I feel like that'll be the best way for him to produce what everybody needs to be like, all right, he's official. The submissions don't really make you dangerous. Like, you got to rack up so many. For every 3 submissions, like a knockout does it. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So I feel like a good ground and pound TKO for him would be ideal. Matt, you know what? And you're right, scary, right? So I would say no punches. Throw some elbows on that boy. You know what I'm saying?
Nasty ground and pound.
Yeah.
That feel like, dang, I wouldn't be able to do nothing if I was in that situation. You know what I'm saying? Because see, I hate to say it, man, but Jamie, man, look, I've rooted for Jamie a lot, man. I didn't necessarily think he was going to win, but you just want a fighter to kind of show you a little more than what they.
Hey, what's scary with Jamie is, we were just saying this before the UFC, he was knocking people out, man. He was blitzing them, was throwing. He got like real fast hands. He got power, especially in his left hand. But like, you get to UFC, bro, and it's like, I don't know if his knockout power and stuff just not there, or if it's like a mental thing to where it's like,
the competition. It's the competition, bro. Like, once the competition gets higher, you know what I'm saying? It makes you be a little bit more calculated in what you do. You know what I'm saying? He could probably have not been in fear of whatever. It's kind of like when a dude date a bad chick. You could date an ugly chick all the time and talk to her crazy and do all this other stuff. But when you date a baddie who got a lot of options out here, you're going to be able to look at it. You got to look at it a little different. So, and I feel like that's what it is. He got a different level in competition, and he was kind of like, I could rush or whatever like that. But them guys up here, it's like the NBA or the NFL. Everybody got speed. Everybody got power. Everybody got talent. So I could get away with it, but maybe not. maybe I'll run into somebody who got a good counterpuncher. He could put me night. So you don't want to do that. You know what I'm saying? So
and then he been TKO on the feet. He been beat on the ground.
Yeah.
Then Cal dog take him down and split him.
He been beat in a myriad of ways, man.
He learning on the job.
I was just on the job the bad way. I was just gonna say that, bro. Look, arm triangle. Okay, then decision. Okay, cool. Another decision. Then you get TKO by Jordan Wright, and I think they just released him, didn't they?
Yeah, they released him with William.
And so now then Cal Dawkins.
And then you beat Joseph Holmes. That was his first fight in the UFC. So you beat a rookie. And then who was that? Laureano.
I don't know what it is,
man. So it's just certain level. At least he survived Tafon and he survived Punahele.
Yeah, but both of them ain't.
I got a question.
Both of them ain't really showing up.
Do y'all know what gym he fights out of?
Who?
Nope.
Where he from? Greenville, North Carolina.
Hit Pit.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Sometimes them big gyms, like him losing in a multitude of ways, that just tell me he not seeing enough versions of different scary fighters.
Because he getting beat up. He getting beat up by kind of everybody. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, now I can understand if you struggle against wrestlers, or if you're trying to get your striking up to par, and you struggling against people who have an extensive background in striking. But he got a lot of athleticism, and he seemed to kind of get beat by anybody. And it's like, I hate to say that like that, man.
If you're not like those guys, you're not getting a wide range of competition, then you're not going to be able to do what you need to do.
I don't expect that fight to last more than 2 minutes, man. Now, this fight right here, though, Mateusz Gamrot and Jalin Turner, this fight is exciting. Mateusz is taking this fight on short notice, but this is a dangerous fight, man, because you can't really play on the ground with Gamrot like that. Like, you notice Neal, when he fought him, he didn't give him no leeway to get on the ground at all.
Yep.
And Jalin can't take no chances here. You finally cracked the top 10.
Hey, you know how he kept on taking Neal down? But Neal would catch it. Jalin can't throw no leg kicks this fight, man. He can't throw no leg kicks. He can throw knees. He can throw elbows. If I'm Jalin, I'm throwing knees. I'm throwing punches. I'm just making a boxing match. I'm down the outside.
I'm throwing combos. I'm doing because Jalin leg kicks is crazy. I feel like Jalin striking is precise. He just got to get better. Like I feel like he got talent to be a dangerous striker. Some of his punches be hitting like on the top side of the head sometimes. Like it don't always hit that button where it needs to hit. But I'm going with him on this fight. I like him in this one because I think Gamrot will throw with him too. He basically I ain't no slouch on these feet. So
Gamrot ain't trying to throw in.
But Gamrot, he don't have no choice because we've seen that Gamrot, as dangerous as he is on the ground, sometimes actually get in the fight because remember against Armand, there was only a few times where he actually won a grappling exchange, and a lot of times that was Armand doing crazy exchanges with him. It ain't like Gamrot took him down, and then against Neal, he couldn't even close the distance enough to even get a takedown. He ended up getting dropped actually trying to go for a takedown. I think this is what Gamrot's, I think this is where his path ends. This is the furthest you can make it without using your striking. I'm not saying his striking is bad, but he hasn't shown striking in his last fights at all, man. So I think this is where it ends because you have to mix up your take. It's kind of like football. You have to mix up the passing with the runs. Yeah. You don't just run the ball every time unless you got Adrian Peterson, somebody back there. But I'm saying you got to mix it up. Gamrot, he would have more success with the grappling if his striking was better. It's like what you were saying earlier about the Damian Maia. Your striking don't have to be the best. You just have to have some tools that you can use on the feet. It could be leg kicks. It could just be a good jab. To be honest, you really don't even need the extra stuff. Because I understand if you're not a striker like that, you don't want to put yourself at risk trying to quote unquote stand up and strike people. But you need leg kicks and a jab at least. I think he made it as far as he could. I think he make up for it with his constant pressure. Because most of the time when we see wrestlers like that who don't have striking or they don't use it, they don't succeed. They make it to a certain level and they end up getting knocked out. You know what I mean? So, but because of his style, he can hold on to, how when Khabib took Conor, he held onto the leg. Gamrot does that for 25 minutes. But that wins fights though, man. I'm going to be real. When somebody as opportunistic as Gamrot, you can't make no mistakes because sometimes he recognizes, I can't get a takedown on this person. And then he can use what they're doing against them, like how he did Armand. Because he never got a successful takedown against Armand, but he was able to use some of Armand's stuff against him during that fight. I still think that Jalin got to fight the right fight to win. Now, I want to make it very clear because Gamrot could and choke something out. You may have to finish him too, man. If I'm going to be honest. Yeah, but Jalin got to fight the right fight. Don't give Gamrot no opportunity.
I think it's open opportunity. I think the one thing that Jalin got to do is when the bell ring, he got to let them hands go. He does not have to be precise in everything. He has the room to make some mistakes because I don't think Gamrot jumps on every fucking mistake. But I will think
grappling, not striking.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm talking about striking wise where I feel like Jalen's going to be. So I feel like he can make some mistakes and stuff like that. He can't make anything detrimental. But I feel like if he does it once in a while, like whatever, I feel like this is open. I feel like this is one of the more open fights on the card. This is one of my favorite fights on the card. I feel like both of these dudes are tough. But I feel like Jalin, honestly, I feel like I'm rooting for him. I feel like if he cleans up that striking, his thing is necessarily not even like fear of striking, is accuracy for me. I feel like he is like almost maybe an inch or two away from having the most defying highlight reel as far as hands goes. Like, because I feel like his leg kicks, I've seen them joints echo throughout the stadium. Like, them lower leg kicks go crazy, and he just lets that joint go quickly, and you can't even see where it's coming from. It just comes off so fast. So I feel like if he does what he's supposed to do, I think it's a good fight.
What should be his approach, man? Because Gamrot's so dangerous with the grappling, or even just certain moments. He's good at winning certain scrambles that could just win around, man. So
or he could just use any scramble and choke you out. Like
Jalin can't make no mistakes.
Jalin really
what can Jalin do? And he can't just make it up.
Yeah,
either. Because then
you can't. Because Beneil did, and Beneil, look, if Beneil can do it, Jalin can do it.
Yeah, but Gamrot had success against Beneil too. Like, because I didn't see the fight. I saw the third round. I didn't see the first and second round. Gamrot actually won that first round against Beneil, and then the second round and the third round he lost, and he got knocked down. But that's another thing is then he get knocked down with a left hand. Yeah. He got sniped that left hand.
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
So he got to throw the jab, pop, and just snipe.
Luckily, Mateusz just got dropped. So Mateusz, however you want to say it. So luckily, we know Jalin. He should be able to drop him. Yeah. And then I wouldn't be surprised if he dropped him and choked him out. But I don't know if I'll play that game.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
I don't know if I'll go to the ground with this dude. I'm going to be real.
I'm going to be honest with you. Unless Gamrot's thing is start out the fight immediately by trying to get a takedown, I don't think that'll happen because from what I've been watching of him, he fancies himself as a full mixed martial artist. Like, he fancies himself as a guy who can stand up or go down. Like, he believes in both of his levels. Like, one is a little better than the other one, yes, but I feel like he like throw. So I feel like he may. Here's the thing, and it happens sometimes. Sometimes you could be your worst enemy. Like, I feel like he may try to bang with him a little bit. I feel like I think I might be better than Jalin with the striking. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think so, man.
Man, he might go. He might go out there and immediately shoot for a takedown.
He might have to do that, man.
I don't think so. Watch his last few joints, first fights, right? He tried because I feel like that's what you got to do. You got to be a complete mixed martial artist.
I think it's a difference between you trying to stand up with somebody to prove a point and you stand up with somebody long enough to get the fight to the ground. Does it make sense?
Yeah,
because either way it goes.
But listen, trying sometimes is what gets you to catch that L. You get what I'm saying? So, and that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying you guys are wrong. You know what I'm saying? I feel like Jalin do got to fight the perfect fight as well, and I feel like Dog needs to go for the takedowns. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's both of their what we see. But we've all like planned fights beforehand, like, oh, I think it's gonna go this way, and then we go there and they be like, John, don't throw hands with da-da-da-da-da. And John will throw hands with who he shouldn't. And I'll be like, I did not expect John to win. And after he threw hands with that, of course that's John. But I'm saying most people, you know what I'm saying? Like, it never goes that way. And I'm telling you, sometimes people defeat themselves and then the opponent sees an opening and they run right through it. And I feel like Gamrot thinks he can bang with him. I feel like if I'm Jalin, by the time he realized he can't throw with me, it's over. I want it to be too late. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want it to be done.
And I feel like
you thought you could bang? Oh, no.
I feel like Gamrot's fighting who he think is the weakest out of the top 10, too, if I'm going to just be real with you.
Yeah, because Jalin just crashed top 10, so he might be just finna think, I'm going to go in there and just go ahead and school him real quick.
You see what I'm saying? But I feel like he think if he do think he the weakest, why wouldn't I throw with him? You know what I'm saying?
Man, if he going in and trying to on Jalin, boy, he must be on something.
here's what I'm saying, because if I think he the weakest and it turns out to be true, I get credit for my hands for beating him if I beat him on the feet, and he's still top 10, and people still do think his hands are legit, like his striking is legit. Like if we're thinking MMA math here, I feel like it's plus size to him thinking like, oh, I can bang with him. If I'm Jalin, I'm going, yeah, bro, bang with me, and I'm going to show your ass you can't. That's what, if I'm Jalin, that's what I'm thinking. You know what I'm saying?
And
I don't know. If he's smart money, I'm doing exactly what you guys are saying. I'm 1-2, give me that leg.
Jalin,
you know what I'm saying?
Scott Holtzman, though, man. Slow Scott Holtzman, man. Remember Gamrot, he knocked out Scott.
Man, he looked like Roy Jones Jr. in this fight.
Jalin is the exact opposite.
Hey, man, speaking of exact opposites, man, who y'all picking, Geoff, Neal, or Shavkat?
I think when they first announced this, I knew, or my prediction is it's going to go 3 rounds, and it's going to come down to whoever's more technical. Because you got guys, they grapple, they're going to cancel out. They strike, going to cancel out. They knockout power going to cancel out. I think they can go 3 rounds, man. And I think it'll come down to whoever make a mistake, like in certain exchanges.
Because somebody going to get dropped in this fight for sure. Because they both got that kind of power,
man. I don't know if I agree with that, man.
Whoever make a mistake, I'm saying whoever.
We seen how Geoff Neal fight, man. He cannot pull the trigger. He can be calculated.
More safe.
We've seen Geoff Neal. We seen him fight safe against less dangerous opponents. So, if he fought safe against certain opponents, we know you're going to fight safe against Shavkat.
But Shavkat, the way he going to fight is going to be different. He going to be wide open. He going out there. I think, don't he got all finishes on his record? He undefeated with all finishes. You think
I'm going to rock them out. I'm going to rock them out.
You going to rock? You picking Shavkat?
Yep.
How? Decision?
I like how or late round, late third, late second. You know what I'm saying? With the chokes, I like his pressure. I like his ring presence. I've been watching a lot of his stuff. Like I think he a dope fighter. You know what I'm saying?
He really is. He real precise, man. Because one thing I like about Shavkat is like he fight with his hands down, but everything he does is calculated. Everything he does is well thought of. Like he'll put his hands down, but he's setting something up. His striking ain't the best, but he's real precise. Because whenever he throws certain combinations or certain strikes, he lands it. So I mean, like Geoff, man, like he better have a game plan for this.
I know, man.
He made a believer out of me with the Cowboy Oliveira submission, the Neal Magny one, and he I think his last one he just knocked somebody out. So I'm like,
Neal.
Yeah,
I know what you're talking about. The one before that he fought I
think it was Harris. He fought Harris.
Well, he put him down.
But hey, let me say this though, like that's why I love that fight because he couldn't take that guy down. I know Harris is black belt, but you gotta understand if you couldn't take down Harris, you can't take down Geoff Neal. And then I don't think he's gonna be able to land on Geoff Neal. I think this is gonna be just a close technical fight, man. And it's gonna come down to whoever has the best game plan. Because if you can't take down Harris, you definitely can't take down Geoff Neal. And then Geoff Neal got some of the best. You said what?
He finished him though. You got to give credit to what my bread and butter is not working to what it is working. Like so, all right, yeah, I couldn't take you down, but guess what? I could put you down. I could finish you, and he did. So you know,
think he gonna land that spinning kick though against Geoff Neal though?
I don't know. Sometimes Geoff stand in one spot for a long time. Man.
Listen, later rounds. That's why I said 2-3 for me. That's why I said late 2. The whole 3 is open. But I feel like for me, I just like dog. Like nobody. If you ain't beat him, if nobody ain't beat him, show me you got what it takes to take dog out, so I can see him lose in a certain way. Until then, I'm not picking him to be a loser until you show me you got it. So
the only thing is with that though, you could be undefeated when you ain't fought anybody in the top 10 though. You know, anybody can Pinocchio.
But that's not to interrupt. My fault. Not to interrupt. But I'm gonna be honest with you. I felt the same way. But then I seen. That's why I said the 2 fights I chose. He fought Cowboy and he fought Neal, and neither one of them dudes is some hoes. Neither one. Neal arguably is a dog. Like I know he got some losses. No, bro. Look at Neal's.
I know, man, but it's so sketchy, man. It's like it's so inconsistent, man. It's like, dang. And I hate to say it, man, but Neal was defeated when that fight began. Like, if you remember, he was pulling guard. It was weird, man. It was real weird.
You can say whatever you want about Neal, right? But he banged with people. They have fed him over and over and over. And if we doing MMA math, Neal beat Geoff already.
Excuse me, sir. Has there ever been a robbery at this establishment?
And
that was a split. That was a robbery. Like,
but here's the thing. I'm saying if we do MMA math, Neal beat Geoff already. You know what I'm saying? I do feel like Dog was a lot more spot on than Neal is with his hands and how he does his stuff. I feel like it's a good chance that he may gonna catch this L.
But let me say this though: the only thing I keep bringing the Neal Magny fight up is because yes, Shavkat beat him, but Neal don't have the best ground game. That's really the way to beat Neal. You got to kind of be bigger and stronger. Look at the Michael Chiesa.
Look at even RDA, a lightweight.
It's a certain type of skill set where he's susceptible. Like, he's not really susceptible to get knocked out, but he is vulnerable on the ground. So yes, Shavkat beat Neal Magny, but he was a bad matchup for Neal.
This fight is interesting because we know that Neal had dealt with the heart thing. Remember when he came back and fought Wonder Boy, he was coming off of something with his heart. They were trying to put a stent in his heart. One thing we always talk about is how it seemed like Neal take rounds off sometimes. And I started thinking, maybe that's in the back of his mind. Does that make sense? That I don't want to get, and I thought about that because when he fought Vicente, in a post-fight interview, he said, when my cardio is right, and I'm not worried about my cardio, I can beat anybody. And I started thinking, why would you say that? And then it dawned on me, the heart thing, he might sometimes just be looking at, like, watching the cardio, or just does that make sense? Like, taking a round off. I don't know if you can take a round off against Shavkat, man, because Shavkat is just, I feel like he kind of is in that same league as Khamzat. He just not as loud. Does that make sense? But I feel like he's just as dangerous, if not more dangerous.
Yeah, I'm listening. He's a complete fighter. I'm gonna be honest with you. We gotta put more respect on Neal's name. Neal has beat champions. Yes. You know what I'm saying? He has beat not one.
I'm picking Neal.
He is beaten. He is,
he knocked out a bunch of people who never been knocked out before.
No, I thought we were talking. We talking about two Neals. I was talking about Magny.
Neal the bad.
Which Neal you talking about?
Good one or?
I was talking about Magny, and I was saying when we were.
That ain't right. Shame on you.
We talking about the good one.
I was using that for my purpose of the MMA math thing. So, but I don't know. I just don't see it. I'm sorry. I like it. It's a good fight for me. I'm excited to see it. No.
Man, you don't think he can knock him out?
That's me.
I see what he's saying. I can't see Geoff knocking him out. I can see Geoff putting together a game plan like he did get Santiago do, and whoever the judge win.
But I'm gonna tell you this, man. That scares me, bro. The thought of anybody winning a decision at this point, because I don't know how they scoring these fights, man. I don't even know when you say put together a game plan and it could be a close fight. At that point, I'm like, we back to square one, because you know how they used to score for whoever was in control. Then they started, if they like you and you're a big name, if you outstruck the person but you got out wrestled, they'll still score it for you. So I just don't even.
I think the big question is, should Shavkat, if he beats Neal some kind of way, Geoff Neal, he might have to go to middleweight because ain't nobody going to fight him.
Oh no, nobody's going to want to fight him.
Nobody going to fight him, man.
Yeah, they gonna be too scared. They don't want to fight him now. That's why he fighting Geoff Neal.
It's funny, Khamzat will never call him out.
Exactly.
It's funny you
here's the thing.
For middleweight because you didn't want to fight Alex Pereira, and now you in welterweight. Now you ain't calling out Shavkat. I thought you was the alpha male.
Yeah, he know he don't want to fight no Shavkat.
And that's what they're hoping for, right? Because here's the thing. You know what Dana like to do. If he wins, and let's say he sleeps him round one. Sleeps him.
My God. Don't say that. I'm covering my ear.
I'm going to just say it. Let's say he sleep Neal, right? And nobody want to fight him. Like, he do that nice precision, hand throwing, sleep him, do maybe something nice, something pretty in fashion. Then nobody gonna want to mess with him, right? You know what Dana gonna do. Dana gonna get on probably that press conference that night after the show, go, I don't know if anybody want to fight, dog. I feel like everybody's scared of him, honestly. And you know how that's almost like telling a little kid no. They gonna put their finger in there. They gonna put their finger in that socket. And I feel like that's how he gonna get fights for him. And because if everybody keeps saying no, they gonna bump him to 5.
He gonna have to.
It's only one fighter in the UFC who ain't scared to fight
Bilal,
and that's Bilal.
But Bilal has earned the right to not have to fight him because he already been fighting people and get avenging losses and fighting people
below Anita.
ranked
Below Anita.
Well, like lower on the totem pole than him, and so he earned the right to not have to fight nobody.
I don't think fighters are scared to fight Shavkat. Well,
no, they are.
But the thing is, it's also a high risk, low reward fight too, man. Because if you somebody who's ranked like number 2, like Kobe, he has a lot. Like Kobe is like one fight away from a title shot.
Arguably, he could be fighting.
I guess in Kobe's rules, I guess he got a title shot now. Some kind of way he get title shots he don't deserve.
Where is he at, by the way?
Yeah,
waiting on hoping Leon win against Kamaru so he can get a title fight because he.
Man,
I know, man. He's a bad matchup for Leon.
But man, I'm gonna go with Neal, and so y'all picking Shavkat?
I am.
I think it's gonna be close. It's gonna be a split decision, man. And
how can you determine if it's gonna be a split decision?
I'm gonna just predict it to be real close to where it's hard to each round is close.
It's like killing me. I'll predict it's gonna be a split majority draw. How in the world can you predict?
I mean, you can't predict. How you gonna predict it's gonna be a knockout? I mean, but I'm saying like if it's close.
Well, when you already got 10 of them on your record,
you know, Santiago and Geoff Neal fight, it was so close, man. It was like, man, even though he really lost it.
I'm going Rock.
He really won the Neal Madden one, but he really lost the Santiago one.
I'm gonna go with Geoff Neal. Don't he follow us on Facebook?
Yeah, he follows us on Facebook.
So yeah, we're gonna go with Geoff Neal.
Man, listen, go ahead. Listen, y'all got business decisions to make.
Man, I love both of these fighters, man. I hate this fight as much as I hated Geoff Neal versus Vicente. I hated that fight because I love both of them fighters, and Geoff is the only person who will fight him, man. So, but then
now it's time to take a lunch break.
It's time to take a. If whatever you're doing on fight night, if you gotta go make some popcorn, if you gotta go take a restroom break, this is gonna be the fight to do it. I hate to say it, but
anything that's gonna take 30 minutes because this fight can go 30 minutes. And
okay, so we all got the same. We all got the same mindset. Cool. So we can go ahead and get ready to jump.
No, because this is interesting because we didn't know you thought that, and we had an inside joke, but we didn't know you thought that. But
message.
But now I'm finna ask you. Is it just us, or is Valentina low-key stinking up the division a little bit? Because
you reaching with that one, man.
I'm saying
she doing exactly what that picture that you just posted, that picture that you just the fight card. She is doing just as if the man that she's on 1 million of his cards for, she's under John. She's doing exactly what that man that's right over her is doing. She is clearing that bitch out. Ain't nothing you can do about it. If you want it to change, do something. Until then, everybody catching knuckles.
But that's the thing. Tyler did do something, and they didn't get her the decision. I'm like, but the thing,
how you win every round and lose it.
And it was so crazy, bro. Because you go back and look at the decision, Valentina even thought she lost. And then I was like, man,
Valentina outstruck her and Tyler out-grappled her. But in the past, don't they give fight to the wrestler or the grappler?
That's why we just got finished saying what he was saying earlier in the conversation about how grapplers always get fast-tracked. Because
every
it's
time.
One of the best is one because they score more for grappling as well. So even
most champions, champions.
Exactly.
And then what makes it worse, Valentina will try to take her down. She end up on the bottom. When you initiate the grappling and then you end up on the bottom, shouldn't you lose that round? I don't understand.
Maybe I'm saying that wrong. Maybe it ain't Valentina.
But I think everybody. I was just about to say that. I think everybody ready to see Aaron get that title fight, man. I think people looking past this.
I know Alexa getting a title fight, man, and this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. But let's just call it what it is.
Look how she fight. You ever seen her fight, bro? She's very calculated. She don't take no chances. Her versus Valentina, nothing might happen for 5 rounds. Literally, nothing. And then
they're going to score for Valentina because then they can market the Valentina and Aaron Blanchfield fight.
Oh my God, man!
I'm going with. To be fair with you, I'm gonna go get something to eat during this fight. So
I think Valentina gonna take her down because I've seen Alexa in some trouble on the ground. And some of her fight, she's not bad on the ground, but the level of where Valentina is on the ground, I don't think she's there. I think at the very least, Valentina, because Alexa, her hands might be arguably better than Valentina. If I'm gonna just be honest, the way she fights for her. But at the same time, I think Valentina could just fight boring, get the fights to the ground, just win an easy fight. You're the champion.
And that's when I said she was thinking up the division. That's what I was talking about. Because I've seen a lot of fights where I'm like, I don't even remember Valentina's fights. That's when I know something. That's when something in my brain starts saying, what's going on? Because I love good fights. Does that make sense? I love good fights, man. Even if it ain't the person I want to win. Like Gilbert and Kamzat. I can still watch that fight, but whenever I look at a fighter and none of their wins come to mind, like I'm not thinking about anything significant, I hate to say it, I'm like, But she making history and she a champion. So whatever. So who you picking?
Aaron Blanchfield.
All right, who you picking, Kobe?
Kobe sleep. Dang, the fight ain't even started yet. You sleep.
Nah, man, my bad. I hit mute on accident. I'm doing Valentina. Valentina. There's no other.
Well, we know Valentina gonna win. So like you said, we go ahead and skip over that one. But man, now we get to the one that
you know what's weird? Let me say this, man. It's so weird because people talking about if Jon Jones beat Ciryl Gane, and he's one of the greatest of all time. Jon Jones was the greatest of all time when he beat Rashad Evans.
It was over.
Like, he been the greatest for like what, last 7 years, 8 years. He even disappeared for like 2 or 3 years.
And still the greatest of all time. Was the greatest of all time.
I think this is extra. I think honestly, dude, like, I think if Jon Jones wins this, I don't know how to explain it, man, because he already the greatest of all time. So I don't know where he can go from there. I guess he had 2 faces on Mount Rushmore.
On the MMA.
Put two Jon Jones faces on there. For people to say he'll be the greatest of all time if he beat Ciryl Gane, man, like, this is crazy. I don't know why people say something like that, man. But honestly, I seen Jon Jones training, and I was impressed and unimpressed at the same time.
What is?
No, I was impressed and unimpressed at the same time. I was impressed with his physique, with his strength and stuff, his power. His power there. Is this a different Jon Jones though? Because the speed wasn't there, and that's how he was winning the fights in like heavyweight division. He was using his jab, his speed and stuff. He was always fluid. That's why he won mobility. But then I see him hit the mitts, bro. It was like, it's almost like he's a different fighter. And I would hate for him to go and fight Ciryl Gane and be a complete different fighter
and get beat
because it's like an experiment or an experimentation.
You thought it was just his speed?
Not just his speed, but like, you gotta understand, like, against like a Rampage Jackson and against certain fighters, man, like, it's like, well, I can just hit you where you can't hit me. Speed has something to do with it. Obviously, it's IQ and stuff, man. But you gotta understand, if you take a slow Jon Jones against some of them guys, he loses fights. Does it make sense?
I've always thought it's been IQ precision for him and well placement. Like, speed has never been the thing for me when like reaching out about Jon. Like, I feel like his IQ, but I always thought precision is always, and you know, it's weird, right? I don't think we've ever had them have a conversation before, but I feel like we needed Conor and him to have a good conversation, because a lot of Conor's methodry of how he fights is what makes Jon good. He's like speed beats power and all that other stuff, but it's always been precision, right? Like, if we really notice them elbows, how he does certain things, all that other stuff, like, his wrestling is IQ based for sure. But I'm telling you, like, the way he strikes is very methodical. He never really hits the same place twice. Some people are double leg kick, double jab, double whatever. He'll lower leg kick, knee, oblique kick, chest kick, stomach, punch. He'll hit you with a hook. Like, it's all, and that's what, like, it looks like a combination, but it's not. It's like he's always trying something out. And I feel like he would go from top to bottom and be like, all right, let me see if this works. This work. All right, cool.
Yeah.
I like that. I like the one thing I really like, and this is what I've been wanting to say, is I like that Henry is lighting a fire in him, and I like that Henry is making him feel like, hey, bro, I just want to let you know, if you thought you was hot shit, you're not. You're going to have to start from ground zero here. You're going to have to work in this gym to show us, because us as a gym think you washed up and done. Let's see what you got. And I feel like Henry and them have built him up to get that confidence. And I feel like he's listening to Henry. I don't know if he has the great coaching. I think Henry's a great coach. Don't get me wrong. But Wink and them, they were, because it was sometimes you would see Wink and them be like, nah, Jon, you got to do this. And Jon will go in there and will do everything they told him to do. And I'll be like, oh, shit, Jon really like a coachable killer like that. You know what I'm saying? How hard that is.
Hey, Kobe, I'm glad you said that, because you remember Anthony Smith came out and said that Jon Jones is not as good as people think he is. Well, he said he has a good team, a good coaches. And stuff. So is that true? Which we know a lot of that was bitter, and I love Anthony Smith, but that was like a bitter like response. So I guess it is true when people say his team. His team is real methodical. They come up with like real good game plans.
Yeah, that's part of it though. You can't win a Super Bowl without a great coach and a great team. You need a good staff, like you need good players, you know.
And it fits him too, because you don't want to be a fighter watching a bunch of footage too, man. Because sometimes it can create nerves and stuff, man. That's why some fighters be nervous and you see them and they be inconsistent, because you watching, oh yeah, he got all these one punch knockouts, and you getting scared watching his highlights. Whereas you need a coach that's gonna watch it for you and just tell you, okay, do this, don't do this, man.
I'm looking, man, and stylistically, I like what you said, man, because I hate to say it, but the last few Jon Jones that we saw, they look uninspired. The last time I saw a fire under Jon Jones when he beat Alex the second time. But I didn't see the fire in Dominic Reyes fight. I didn't see the fire in Thiago Santos fight. I didn't see it in Anthony Smith fight. I didn't see it. Well, we saw it in the Daniel Cormier fight, but
we saw a lot more too.
We saw a few things there, but then in the Ovens fight, that was an odd one.
That was his worst performance against Ovens.
That was just terrible. I don't know.
Hold on. I hate when people say that. The Ovens fight was not dynamic, no. But go back and watch. He was piecing dog up. It was Ovens that wasn't bringing anything to Jon.
That's fair.
You know what I'm saying? If we being honest. And I'm going to be honest with you too. That Thiago fight is one of my favorite Jon fights of his last few. I feel like Thiago gave him the same bit of scared that Rampage gave him. That knockout power, scaredness. And I'm telling you, he's openly admitted that Rampage was like his most terrifying fight.
He said before he fought Rampage, he had a dream that he got knocked out. That's why when the fight started, that's why he got down and started crouching down.
I feel like Thiago was number 2 for him. And I feel like Thiago starting out like how he did, I definitely felt that. I knew going into Gus 2 that he was going to beat Gus' ass. Because he won. Yeah. And guess what? He beat Gus' ass so much in Gus 2. We don't even talk about that first fight.
Yeah. Like nobody ever brings it up. Because remember, whenever you bring up Jon Jones, they bring up the Alex fight. After that second fight, it was like, now you never hear about that fight. Because low-key, you never hear about the second fight either.
Done. You hear about it when they try to bring Gus' ass up, you do. When they be like, oh yeah, Jon did it. Because now they do that with, and I feel like Dominic Reyes need to get that. I feel like he gonna circle the block for Dominic too.
You said he gonna circle the block back for Dominic Reyes.
I think he should.
Dominic is done, bro. There is nothing that he can do. That's what I'm saying. Even when you lose close fights or whatever, it might suck, but you got to keep winning those other fights, because now look at the situation Dominic is in, where even if Jon Jones wanted to fight him, look at this. How can you market this, man? You know what I mean? In the last 3 of them was knockouts, and the knockouts coming faster and faster, and then they coming by jiu-jitsu people. At this point,
that don't mean shit. If he win one more, Jon could be like, "Nah, y'all was talking about him. Bring his ass back." You know what I'm saying?
I mean, they could.
It's a plus side for Jon to silence the haters. It's a plus side for Dominic. Because here's the thing: all 4 of them losses get avenged if he sleep Jon. Let's be honest,
it ain't happening.
I know it ain't happening, but I'm just saying because I believe he won. I believe he beat Reyes the first time. So it don't bother me. I sleep easy. No. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, Dominic sleep easily too.
Oh man.
Listen. He sleep easy on that shoulda, coulda, woulda. But I'm cool with that. You know what I'm saying? So is Gus. And look what happened to him.
Hey, the real question is, who got better striking, or do you think Jon Jones can stand up with Ciryl Gane?
Because man, we've seen Ciryl Gane like run laps around people, man, and make it look like a glorified sparring match. And he can make it real boring and get an easy decision. We've seen him do that. Remember that's why they made him fight Derek Lewis, because they was like, okay, because everybody else he just made it look so easy. It's like,
I would say this: Jon got a mystique about him that I feel like psychs a lot of people out before they step in the cage with him. A lot of them have it, and a lot of them feel it. Only one I think probably tossed it to the wind was Thiago. He was kind of like, what I got to lose, and I like how he approached the fight.
Well, Ciryl Gane was in there against Francis, against Derek Lewis. Jon Jones ain't compared to them dudes. They can knock out one punch.
I know, man. Yeah. I'm gonna ask you this. Who was a scarier fight to you, Jon Jones or Francis?
Well, Ciryl Gane?
Just as a human being. I'm talking about from Ciryl Gane's standpoint. Francis would have to be the more scary person. You see what I'm saying? Like, with his kind of power, bro, and he can barely touch you and put the lights out. And, bro, Ciryl was styling on Francis bad. I know Francis' knee and stuff was blown out, but still, Ciryl, there was a few times he threw some stuff that almost connected. It looked like he may have been able to put some lights out. He threw some spinning back kicks. He threw some flying knees. I'm talking about Francis got a great chin. People, that's another thing, man. People forget how great Francis' chin is. And he ate some strikes from Ciryl Gane that a lot of people, man, he might could put Jon Jones out with some of that stuff, man, if we being real.
But let's be honest. Well, here's the thing. what we thought Ciryl should be afraid of Francis was not the reason what he lost by. No one thought that Francis was gonna get in there and wrestle dog to the ground.
Did not see that coming at all.
You know what I'm saying?
So it said that Ciryl Gane's takedown defense is 55%, man.
Yeah, and
Francis got done.
But I think all that came from Francis though, because other than that, what other fight did they even touch Ciryl Gane, let alone take him down?
Derek took him down.
So,
I'm trying to remember.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, though, right? So because we know that now, right? Like I know you said, like, who's the more fear? Like, who should he be more nervous about? Well, he didn't know he could be taken down by a top contender like that before. And who's the last person you want to get into it with is a dude who does wrestling like he eats breakfast in the morning. That is the problem. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know you was worried about the knockout power. Everybody is. But John is a wrestler's wrestler. Like, he gets it in. So,
but the thing is with Jon Jones, the last couple of fights, his wrestling hasn't really looked that effective.
Yeah,
I'm gonna just be real, man.
And it didn't even look that good against people who are. I think Ciryl Gane is better than all these people. Other than like a Daniel Cormier, he's better than all these guys, even in their primes, by a mile. And John wrestling really stopped working other than Alexander, and he couldn't, obviously you can't really use it against Cormier.
He did the first fight though. He took Dan down.
He ain't really used it against Vince like that.
He did. He took Vince down. That's how he won.
He took Vince down. But here's the thing.
I'm gonna start watching that fight after one round.
Here's the thing though. Let me ask you a question. In the last 5 John opponents, right? Who was the top wrestler in those last 5 opponents?
Damn.
And what he do to him?
I'm saying John's offensive wrestling
has not
really been like he hasn't really used it.
He hasn't used it. That's what I'm saying. But I'm saying to you, if you say his last 5 opponents and you say who is the top wrestler of his last 5 opponents, it's DC. He took DC down. And I'm saying I don't think John is lacking in that department. I feel like he goes with whatever he's shown. I feel like Thiago, for some reason, how tall is he? Because he didn't look.
He's 6'2".
He looked big against, like, he looked like him and John was eye to eye. Like, I know him and Dom was eye to eye, and I think Dom might have been taller than him, right? Like, a bigger than him, but they look like those big boys. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I feel like he didn't really have to do as much against what's his name, Anthony.
Yeah, no. He showed up and got paid that night. You know,
it was when Jon Jones was training with Henry Cejudo. Henry implied that John's going to finish him within 3 rounds, and he slipped and said by submission. But then he said by any means. But I think what he was thinking was, he didn't want to say it, but what he was trying to say was ground and pound, but he didn't want to say it. I think the game plan is for Jon Jones to get Ciryl Gane down and ground and pound him, because he's not finna say what he really going to do, man.
Because there's no way you finna stand up with no Ciryl Gane for 25 minutes. John is not the best fighter in the world because he plays in what other people do well. There's no way.
He do that. He actually do try to prove a point.
But he tried to beat them with their own style.
He was able to do that at light heavyweight when he had all that massive reach advantage and that height advantage.
Amen.
But now when things are a little more even,
I agree with that, man.
Because now that things are a little bit more even, he's not gonna have those same advantages. I mean, I know he got like his reach advantages like slightly a little bit more than
4 inches, right?
Ciryl Gane, by 3.5 inches.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Dominic was big.
And then you know Ciryl gonna chop them legs down. You already know.
But Dominic was the only one who was big. Everybody else was shorter than him, though. And Alexander.
But Thiago,
the people who was closer to John's size always gave him trouble. I hate to admit it, man.
Yeah, but Thiago seemed big, right? Am I tripping?
Thiago seemed real dangerous in that fight. I ain't
gonna lie to you, man. I'm a big Thiago fan. He didn't really look all that big, to be honest, man.
No, but that for some reason Thiago felt like he was the most dangerous person that he faced.
No, but he talking about stature. He talking about height wise.
Yeah, I'm talking about just stature. Like, he looked big.
It may not be height, but it's just overall build of Thiago is so huge, and then he got this big hammer tattoo on his chest, and we know he can just hit you with one punch and knock you out.
So what is Jon Jones going to do? Like,
he gonna wrestle?
I'm saying he can't just wrestle Ciryl Gane. He got to mix.
No, he gonna pick him apart. I think I'm gonna be honest with you. That oblique kick. I think that oblique kick he gonna pull out that. He gonna pull out that jab. He gonna pull out them tools. He gonna, you know what I'm saying? He gonna do what he has to do.
I think John. I think John. You know how he did Glover to Texera? I know it was years ago. I think he's gonna get Ciryl Gane in the clinch and just see how strong he is and just go from there. Because I don't think Ciryl Gane is as strong as people think he is. I don't know. I could be tripping compared to John Jones. You know,
and John is stronger than people think he is.
But we can't act like Biden coming up to heavyweight now. You can't.
They always say that though. They said that about light heavy John. Like DC said it over and over. He was like, John might have been. He was like, you wouldn't think so because he's so skinny, but he was probably one of the stronger people I've ever faced.
But we talking about 40 pounds though. We talking about the difference between 206 and heavyweight is like 40 pounds, 45 pounds.
I still feel like he's gonna be strong. I feel like John put the weight on slow.
I think at the very least, I'm gonna just be real with you, man. I want John Jones to win this fight, but I think at the very least, he's gonna have to get on the clinch. You know, like the elbows and stuff, bro. Like if he makes it like if he tries to stay on the outside and make it like this is
he's gonna get beat.
But I think at the very least, if he get on the inside and get him in the clinch, he might not have to take Ciryl Gane down. He might not have to because you know he also got the Greco wrestling too, so he can. But I don't think he can take Ciryl Gane down like that. Not multiple times. He might take him down like once or twice. But I think at the very least, if he's on the inside, I think he's safe because he ain't got to worry about them kicks. He ain't got to worry about the punches, man. Then he can just do whatever he wants to Ciryl Gane.
I'm gonna be honest.
He's gonna repeatedly take him down like that, man.
I like that game plan, right? I'm gonna tell you this: if John work in between 2 minutes, let's say he get to Ciryl Gane and get him down within 3 minutes, I think he'll break Cyryl's will.
It's over. It's over. If that happens, the fight is done. Bro, if he get a takedown that quick, man, and Ciryl don't respond.
I think the question is, you know, I just thought about Ciryl Gane is 245, right? Ain't DC about 245? Like, don't DC and them boys cut weight? Well, not 245, but DC is a big, like, heavyweight. He really cut down from like 240.
Yeah, but DC was so short.
No, what I'm saying, but it makes it hard. It's worse when somebody's shorter and they bigger. So I'm saying, like, maybe John Jones is bigger than Ciryl Gane. If he's bigger than Ciryl Gane, dude, then maybe it could work in his favor. If you think about it, because they say John Jones like 250 right now, man. I don't know if that's true or not. They say he about 250, and Ciryl Gane is about like 245. So
I'm just excited, man. I don't know.
This is the fight that we didn't know we needed.
Let's be real, man. We wanted the John Jones versus Francis fight, man, but this is the second one, I guess, man. The second best one.
I didn't. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, because he was gonna lose. That's why you didn't want to.
Francis scared the fuck out of me, bro.
That's why I was asking you, man. Because I'm like, man, if you tell me that I gotta fight John Jones or Francis for $1 million, I know I'm gonna get beat by both, but I know I'm gonna get beat worse by Francis. Like I can tap out at some point.
And let me say this
against John Jones and be like, hey, shit.
Not to cut you off, but let me say this, man. I hope Ciryl Gane know, man, if this fight close, he not about to win no decision.
Oh, that's over.
So, because Ciryl Gane, he might have to get a finish, man, because if he's around real
close, gonna do that?
I'm saying, like, mentally, he might have to go for it, man, because if this fight go 5 rounds, we've seen John Jones lose 4 rounds before, and
we've seen John Jones. Yeah. Hey, we've seen John win some controversial fights. Hey, I hate to say it, but, like, even Mayweather, there's been some fights where you kind of look at him, but at the end of the day, judges and the powers that be, they go with the side of legacy. If you catch my drift, that's actually where we got the name of this podcast from. Because one day we was talking, and I said, "Why do the UFC defend John Jones?" Because remember, at one point they moved the whole card all the way to California just so he could fight. And I was like, "Well, wait a minute." I said, and then we thought about it, and we was like, "Wait a minute." He already destroyed all your other legends. He destroyed Rashad Evans and got him out of there a little prematurely, if we're being real. Rampage, I feel like Rampage had more in the tank, but John got him out of there. Poor Shogun just was never the same. Lyoto, but he destroyed everybody who there was. And it was like, he really just greatest personified. You kind of got to defend him, because if you get rid of him and he got rid of all your people, you just holding a bunch of L's.
Dude, another thing is, what's next for Ciryl Gane if he lose, man?
Because he's going to be in that Brian Ortega, Dan Henderson, Max Holloway situation, that Junior Dos Santos position, where you in no man's land with Robert Whitaker.
But at least Robert was champion.
And Joseph Benavidez.
Robert was champion at one point. Ciryl Gane was never.
He fought for a vacant.
Interim belt, man. Did that count as being a champion?
Yeah, but I mean, we know it ain't undisputed though. But you know.
Yeah, but it's like, bro, it hurts Ciryl Gane's legacy. I mean, even if it's a split decision, it still hurts his legacy. Yeah. He losing these big fights.
I think they got a chance. I think Ciryl Gane should. He doesn't have anything to worry about. because I got to wrap this up because I got to get back on vacation.
Oh, yeah.
But I would say this. I feel like Ciryl, even if he loses, right, John has to fight Stipe. And once John fights Stipe, if Stipe wins, Cyryl's right back there. So he doesn't fall too far. So he has a chance to still be that guy, you know. But if he loses to all 1, 2, and 3,
oh yeah,
that boy need to call Bellator and start fighting.
Man. And it would suck because it ain't even like he would have a bunch of losses. It was just you lost the fights that counted the most. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you don't want to be in that category either.
He got a young, fresh record. You know what I'm saying? He still got a lot of growth to do. I will say that he doesn't need to be saying what he's been saying all this week with the media, which about him not training.
Man, what in the world was that?
Yeah, so
dude, what in the world?
I don't know if he was trying to make John.
When you lose these championship fights, it affects you mentally, man. But maybe Ciryl Gane never really trained like that, man.
I think Ciryl is just a naturally gifted freak.
He say he don't lift weights at all. He say he don't never lift weights.
He's just naturally better than everybody in the heavyweight division outside of the top 5 that he actually has to train for. But other than that, he's just naturally better than all them other guys, man. So,
John Jones gonna hear that, man, and say, "Hey, man, I can take."
Well, he said it sounded like a trap, and he said he ain't gonna fall for it. But man, we know you're on vacation, but we thank you, man.
Like this video and subscribe.